What's going on? It's Justeeni here. Today we're going to be doing things a little differently. So I've got some Coliseum gameplay. This one's actually not the grand finals, and the reason why is this is an important game. This is the game that got me to 2100 Coliseum Elo, putting me in the top three. I mean, I was in the top three before this game, but it kind of solidified. I never reached 2100 before. Okay, let me have my moment. And then the other thing I'll be talking about later in this video is how Polytopia is rigged, and it's kind of stupid, and it's actually kind of easy to fix, but I don't know why they haven't done it yet. Yeah, Polytopia is stupid. But we'll get into that after this game. This game's actually pretty interesting, so I want to go over this. So right away, actually, from turn 0, you can notice something. Look at this spawn. So this spawn, you can tell that this is special because of this diagonal kind of cut here between these two continents. This is a continent, this is a continent. You guys know how continents works. There's usually two continents, one for you and one for the opponent. I spawned in the middle where the connection is. So my continent I know is here because I spawned more on this side. The opponent's continent is here. So my spawn is really good. But how do you actually convert this? Because this is it's very good, but it's actually not the easiest to win, but I'll kind of show you how to do it. So what I do is I immediately invade. I also don't train a rider. And the reason why is this is a funny new opening. I'm going to make a video on this later, but new opening, don't train a rider. It's kind of silly and weird, but it actually works really well. I level up. And the city sucks, but it's worth at least grabbing because then I can start to harass the opponent. I can now start expanding on my own continent. And 4 riders on turn 4, it's like I was just playing a normal opening, just slightly slower expansion, but faster economy. And then more riders. And then I meet the opponent. And now I get roads, because I either had to buy roads or climbing to really hold on to these. I go with roads. The idea here, I want to make a bridge, do something like this, and I can hold on to these 2 cities, and I can upgrade both of these here. I have these cities, my entire continent. I can get Grand Bazaar quite easily here, and roads is going to be very important for the combat that's about to happen. So I've stolen 2 cities, and I haven't expanded much on my own continent. My development actually isn't the greatest, mostly because these cities suck. So have I overextended? Well, obviously I win the game. You guys know that, but does the opponent punish me? They actually don't. They misplay this here. They should have, I believe they had a way of blocking with this rider instead, so they could have actually taken this and then siege with the 9 HP. But I am able to unsiege, hold on for a turn, find a ruin, but I actually don't have time to get it. I don't train a unit because I'm expecting them to not try to siege. Pop ruin, fair and balanced. Why not? Yeah, I do this. I get an explorer here. Looks a little silly, but I mean, I really want the vision. Workshop's okay here as well because I can just get an explorer here, but I opt for the vision. And you can actually see there's another cut onto this continent, and they have a bridge spot as well. So this is where things get really chaotic. Now, if the opponent had more eco, this would be even scarier, but it looks like they went with likely a double rider opening because they are struggling to develop. But they overextend here. They were just trying to grab vision. I can tell they don't have a whole lot of explorers going on. In fact, I don't think they have any. So I can gladly take advantage. Make a warrior here because they could. It's not very likely, but it's possible if they make some roads here, maybe even a bridge, siege cap, and if they magically block correctly, they do win the game. So, why would I let that happen when I can not let that happen instead? They go for the siege here. They go for the siege here. They are keeping one. They block here. But at this point, it's too late for them. Because even though I wasn't expecting to keep this city, not only am I definitely keeping this, I have quite the unit advantage now. But I'm also going to connect, get a giant, and I have 2 monuments. I put Grand Bazaar there with the intention of just going Park of Fortune, 3 fruit, So then I'll have 2 giants to their 0. I'm up in cities, up in units, up in eco, or cities, probably another city here. Kind of disgusting. Yeah, obviously this was a spawn win, but this is how you convert these kinds of games. Because when you have this kind of spawn, you need to recognize it and you need to take advantage. But yeah, this was the game that got me to 2100 elo. Now I'll go ahead and cut to the finals of this Polyseum. These games are not the most interesting, I'll say that right up front, but don't leave, don't leave. I'm gonna rant. I'm gonna rant about stuff. Okay, so first off, before I even start this game, notice that I have host advantage. Why is that important? Well, it's gonna be the start of my rant about how this Polyseum is rigged. How is it rigged? It's rigged in favor of good players. So it's rigged against bad players, if you think about it that way. If you are worse at the game, you are punished. Because here's the thing. I've had a host advantage in round 2. I've had host advantage in round 3. And then round 4, the finals, I have host advantage game 1. And on a small map, host advantage is no joke. It is significant. Oh, well, what about round 1? Why don't you mention that, Justeeni? The reason why I don't mention round 1 is because I didn't play in round 1. Why didn't I play in round 1? Because I didn't even get an opponent. And I'll just let the game play while I talk about that. So, why didn't I get an opponent round 1? Well, the way that tournaments work is you get seeded based on how good you are, so it's usually based on elo, with the best player getting first seed, worst player getting the 16th seed. Now, if there's less than 16 players, what'll happen is just whoever is not getting, whoever's normally going against the 16th opponent goes against nobody. And the way that the bracket works is the first person goes against the last person, second against the 15th, third against the 14th, etc. Which means if there are less than 16 people in the tournament, and you are the best player in the tournament, you get a free pass to round 2. Just straight up. If you are the worst player in the tournament, and there are like 15 to 16, you're either going against the best, or second to best, or if it's an even smaller tournament, maybe even third or fourth best. Does that sound stupid? That's because it is. It is really just completely unfair for new players. And not only that, but host advantage, the better player gets the person with the better seed gets host advantage. So imagine playing your first ever tournament, playing a Polyseum, and you go against the best player in the whole bracket, and they have host advantage. What are you supposed to do? Now, the point is, well, yeah, you can't do anything. And that's by design. That is how brackets work. Now, that sounds a little weird, but in some sense it does make sense. Like, for example, the championships, all the players are quite good, and that seeding is decided by how highly you place in the qualifiers. So that rewards players for doing well in the qualifying tournaments, like these tournaments. So you do well in those, you get a better seed, so you get an advantage in the championship. That is actually fine. That makes sense. The better you're at the game, but the thing is, all the players are good enough where if the best person's going against the 16th place person, it's not as huge of a deal because the skill gap isn't as crazy. And also, it's a double elimination tournament, so losing your round 1 isn't the end of the world. Like with the Zabasi Polyseum, I had a really low seed actually, but I was still fine for a variety of reasons. Again, it's double elimination, but these qualifying tournaments are single elimination, so if you lose round 1, that is it. You're out. So I'll just go to the next game while I rant some more. So with these best of 3s, they do swap hosts every game. That's another reason why I'm pretty okay with the championships, is because all the matches are best of 3, so host advantage is not as big of a deal there. It only matters if it goes to game 3, which, yeah, it does happen and that can matter, but it doesn't matter as much compared to a best of 1 set, where it's pretty awful if you just don't have host advantage. But so how do you actually like solve this issue though? Like I can complain about all you want, but like is there a way to actually fix this? Well, there's a really obvious one, which is just don't give a blatant advantage to people that are better at the game. But what do you do instead? Make it the other way around, where if you're a worse player, you get the advantage? No, that's also stupid. That encourages smurfing. Not really a good system either. Has a lot of problems. The best solution is just make it random. That's the most fair way you can do it. Which, yeah, that means you can be the best player and get unlucky by going against the second best player, but if you're good at the game, you in theory should win anyway, and it's uncommon for that to happen anyway. But the main thing that does is if you're, like the 15th or 14th or 16th best or whatever, you actually have a chance. And make the host randomized as well. I don't know why that's not randomized. It's extremely stupid that it isn't. But even a randomization, it's not perfect. So what else can you consider doing? Well, in my opinion, what I think should be done with the qualifying tournaments, again, I think the championship tournaments are completely fine, but the qualifying ones, they should not be single elimination bracket. It doesn't work for Polytopia. It doesn't work for Polyseum. It's just not a good way to run tournaments. What should be done instead is a 4-round Swiss tournament. I think that's much more fair. This is the way that the pairing works is much better. Round 1, the first seed goes against the 9th seed instead of the 16th. And then the second goes against 10th, 13th, 11th, etc. It's still, like, if you're in the lower seed, it's not good for you round 1, but it's less unfair. Not only that, but also if you lose round 1 in a Swiss tournament, instead of getting kicked out, and that's it, you can still play on. Which means if you get a terrible spawn loss, which happens in Polytopia, the game has luck. That's just a part of competitive Polytopia. But a Swiss tournament can accommodate for that. If you lose round 1, you can still win 3 rounds and then place maybe 2nd or 3rd still. Whereas if you just got unlucky game 1, you get a completely unplayable spawn, that's it. You just lose. Yeah, look at this insane spawn diff, by the way. What was the opponent even supposed to do? But this kind of proves my point. Like I just completely spawn diffed the opponent. I had all the ruins, I had all the cities. Now this one was a best of 3, and I did win game 1, so yeah. I mean, they still got 2nd place, but still. Like, I would imagine it's a pretty common occurrence, actually, in tournaments where someone's robbed of a potentially good finish because, well, they spawn lost. They lose to a worse opponent, which upsets are always interesting, but when those upsets, like, happen in really stupid ways, then I think it can be problematic. So the one possible concern with 4-round Swiss is, it's going to take too much time, because the current 4-round bracket doesn't take as much time, because round 1 takes the longest because there's the most people, then there's only half the people for round 2, etc., etc. But that's not actually entirely true with brackets being shorter, because the grand finals is always a best of 3. 4-round Swiss is just 4 rounds, that's it. Which actually means the tournament itself might take less time to finish in some cases, or close to equal. And even if it takes a little longer, I think that's a price worth paying. Reddish, if you're watching this, funny Polyseum guy who runs the Polyseum thing. I do appreciate what you do, but I do think please consider fixing Polyseum. Maybe I would appreciate it, because this is a great way to introduce people to competitive Polytopia. But I think its purpose of introducing people to competitive Polytopia is a little bit defeated when the system is completely rigged against the people it was designed for. So seriously, I hope this reaches you, and I hope you consider that. Also, add Pangea to Polyseum. But it's actually not a thing. There's no Pangea in Polyseum, and it's stupid. But I think that's everything I wanted to cover in the rant. If that's not everything, I'll either have a pinned comment or something in the description. But yeah, it's been a while since I've had the rant. If you guys want me to do more rants, I have a lot of things I'd be more than happy to rant about in this game. I love Polytopia, but you know, you can love something and still complain about it. But hope you guys enjoyed. Like and sub, and have a good one.